I am joined today by Jennifer Bodenhausen with Real Broker. How you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for agreeing to chat for a little bit. Why don't we get a little background information, like where you're from, what you did prior to, and how long you've been in the business? So, are you from the Kansas City area originally?
Yeah, by the most part. So I'm a Kansas native for sure. I grew up in Shawnee and lived in DeSoto most of my life. So we don't go too far from home.
Okay. And how long have you been a real estate agent now?
So I am going on my sixth year in real estate, which seems crazy.
And what was your vocation before you got into real estate?
So before real estate, I was actually a dental hygienist. I did that for 20 plus years. And the funny thing about that is it's a people business. You have to know a lot of different personalities. And so it was a great transition to go from dental hygiene to real estate.
Yeah, interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
what initially attracted you to the real estate business?
What really attracted me was I was ready to do something for myself. I felt like there wasn't any more growth where I was what I was doing. I love to help people and that was great, but I needed more. And so it was a really good transition. My dad has a background in construction, but we kind of have some design as well. So it really just fit in nicely and kind of a smooth transition and really took off.
Great. So you've got a little bit of a unique business setup. So you lead a team of agents, but you're also on a larger team. So you lead a team within a team. Is that right?
That is right. So Stroud Associates is the big team, right? And I started out the first year I was a single agent and then came across the Stroud team, which I had no intention on being a team because I was a strong individual. I can do this on my own. But as I learned more, I was like, this team thing probably is the only way for me to go because I want to get big and grow strong. So basically, after a year or two of just being on the team, growth kept happening and I was working too much. So I started to leverage my time, and how that works is I hired a showing partner. So within my team, I'm actually building my own micro team is what we call it, which is kind of an interesting name, but I don't know if a lot of people around this area do that. So a micro team can grow as big as you want. I can grow it with more showing partners, assistants, you name it. But Stroud is the team. So we're brokered by Real and powered by Stroud. That's kind of a good way to think about it because all the systems are in place with a team. And then I can, do whatever, but use all of the systems. And it's a great mix.
And you have
Mhm.
some additional responsibilities. Is that right?
I do. I'm not a title person, but my title is expansion director for my team. And so what that entails is recruiting, and I help train and mentor and coach all the agents that we have. We do have quite a few locations. Before Real, we were an expansion team. And now that we don't have to necessarily be what's called an expansion team, we can just grow anywhere that Real is. And so we have a location in Arkansas, Kansas City, and then St. Joe's, really where our hub is. And I find it interesting because we can grow wherever now. There's no limit on that. And I have agents in California and all over that are, under us, if you want to call it that. But that the expansion role has lots of duties, but it's fun for me.
You've got a lot on your plate. And I don't know if I've seen it enough to call it a trend, but I definitely have seen within the last year or so some individual agents who have joined a team. Have you noticed that? Is that a thing? And if so, why do you think that is?
Well, I do believe that it's harder for agents right now. Everybody wants to jump on and think they're going to make a lot of money. And it's hard for individual agents. The biggest failure rate would happen within that first year. And I think people figure out that they need community around them and they need systems in place. And to have that would help you grow stronger. So I don't know if you really call it a trend, but maybe as the market's harder, I feel like those agents who still want to stick with it are definitely looking towards a different avenue, which would be to join a team.
And I think you answered this already, but you're actively trying to grow both your team and the overall Stroud team right now.
Yes. Definitely. So my team, my small team, which is called House and Home, I am not ready to grow that quite yet. We're getting super close, but I'm always wanting to grow our Stroud team. I think the more like-minded individuals you work with and work around, it just makes you able to do more and help more people. So we're always willing to grow for sure.
So tell me a little bit about what you're seeing in the market right now, both from a buyer's perspective and then also from a seller's perspective.
Yeah, I bet you could ask that to anybody and you get a bunch of different answers. But what we're seeing in our team really is with buyers right now, it's getting a little bit easier for them. Depends on what price range, of course, you're in. But I think it's easier because houses aren't selling in 5 seconds. They are out there a little bit longer for buyers to make a better decision. And on the sell side, I just think sellers need to be patient and you have to teach them what's changed and why aren't houses selling in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest factor right now with interest rates a little bit higher, people are just more cautious. So I think that's pretty normal. But our team, we do get a lot of leads, and I'd say most of my clients come about 60% are past clients or sphere of influence with referrals. And then the other 40% I believe is more of our lead source, which we have pretty heavy leads coming in, which really keeps us fed pretty well.
So what would you say a typical client of yours is? And what are their challenges?
So, I mean, typical clients, they're a lot of my past clients or referrals. So that's really great to know that I must be doing something right to get some people to come back around. But
Yes.
I think the challenges are just, it depends on if it's a buyer or a seller. But I think I would circle back around to a buyer challenge is just being able to stay within a budget because of the interest rates that changes what their budget is. And so kind of teaching them that with rate changes, we might have to review some things again. And then with sellers, challenges are teaching them what's happening currently. So they're not frustrated and thinking that it's the house or the agent.
Yeah. So you mentioned that about 60% of your business comes from past clients or a referral from a past client. So what
Mhm.
have you done or what do you do to nurture those relationships?
Oh, what don't we do? So, I feel like we have a giant budget for our past clients, and I think that's pretty awesome. We do a big event quarterly for them. We have monthly mailers. We send out little gifts to them. I think first and foremost is I stay in touch with them and I make phone calls a lot and see how you're doing. And I'm a relationship builder. So I like to make sure that, I stay on top of talking to them. But we do a lot of events and I think our clients love that, like micro events and large events. And we have a party trailer that a lot of people don't know about, but we let our clients use our party trailer. So if they want to do drinks in the driveway or whatever, we have all the stuff inside the trailer and they can make slushies and have music. And I mean, I could go on and on, but we definitely nurture our clients pretty well. So they like to come back.
So it sounds like you have a pretty robust post-closing system in place that you guys do a good job on.
We definitely do. Yep.
Yeah. As you know, everybody in the real estate and mortgage business talks about being their realtor or lender for life, but not very many people actually follow through on that promise.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for actually doing that.
Well, thanks. Matter of fact, we had our yearly summit last week, and it's kind of funny you said clients for life because we have a new closings walkthrough system. And at that, we give them a magnet with all this cool stuff on it. And we actually have clients for life written on there. So I think that's pretty funny. Yeah.
So, what would you say makes you different from anybody else who sells real estate?
I don't think that there's really much different that I do, but I am a hard worker and I'm very consistent in my business. And I feel like that is really important to be consistent because if you're not, you're going to fall off and you don't want to have the business this high and low and high and low. You want to be steadily growing. And I think that just goes from putting your head down and just staying in it. So I think that's really the biggest part of what I do.
You may have just hit on this with the consistency piece, but what characteristics, skills, or habits have helped you become successful?
Well, I would probably give a lot to my team because my team lead, he keeps us on the forefront of what's going on in the whole Kansas City market. I feel we're a couple years ahead of everyone else as far as the trends and what's happening and how things are changing. I feel like when I talk to other people, they're just catching up to what we did 2 years ago. And so I do give a lot of that back to the leadership that I have. So I think that's pretty important, but consistently goes along with that. So, I mean, being consistent.
So tell me about some systems that you use in either your business or your life to keep you on the right track.
Right? I think that would be the big fat calendar, right? So, calendaring is probably the hardest thing for me to learn as an individual when I started real estate. Of course, in my past career, we had to go by a calendar because patients came in, right? So they were scheduled. It did go pretty well, but to learn to use it as an individual. And if it's not on my calendar now, it doesn't happen. So, family, personal, or business, I have to have it there. I have to make sure. So, that's my biggest system as an individual. Obviously, we have some great systems on our team, but that's what keeps me chugging along every day.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty important.
So do you spend time at the beginning of the week looking at your calendar or putting things in the calendar like family events or personal things and then work
Yep.
to make sure you work around that?
It's just an ongoing daily thing. And if something interrupts part of my calendar, I just move it. I think the biggest thing on my day to day when we were talking about consistency is I have lead gen on my calendar every single day, Monday through Friday. It is a 9 to 11 thing, and that's pretty important time. So if something comes up on inspection or whatever happens, if something gets put on my calendar at that time, that lead gen time gets moved. So it changes daily, but I try at least be that consistent all the way up till noon with exactly what I know I'm supposed to be doing, and if I get interrupted, it just has to get changed. So it's ongoing, but
Right.
I look at it daily.
So you time block, but then there's the reality of life sets in, and sometimes you move things and rearrange as the day goes on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
So now
Yep.
that you've been in the business for 6 years and have the experience that you have, if you were to start over, is there anything that you would do differently?
I think about this a lot just because I feel like I should have started sooner, actually. I don't know if I would change anything now for sure, but I would probably have tried to start real estate a little bit sooner. And I think, in the mortgage world, like this industry can wear you down if you don't have good systems in place and you can do work life balance. So I think once you figure that out, this is a great place to be, but it's hard to do.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
So at this point, what is it that keeps you in the business and keeps you excited about coming in every day?
I think, again, I'm a people person and I love relationships. So being able to talk to a bunch of people and help people really is fun for me. So that's what keeps me going. And within my role in the team, just being able to see agents grow as well and see them learn and understand the system and how to do things the right way. That's pretty fun for me. So, a little bit of both, but obviously, my clients are important and I have a feeling in the near future that that's going to get passed on to my team as well. And I can leverage a little bit more and maybe spend more time with agents. So you never know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I can be dragging or just be having a ho hum day. And when I get to talk to a client or a prospective client, that's what energizes me. So it's
Right.
interesting. I can be tired or grumpy, and then after I talk to somebody, I'm feeling great. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's
nice.
that's my favorite part of the business as well.
Yeah. That means you're in the right place, right?
Yeah. So what do you like to do when you're not working?
Oh boy. My husband and I are crazy project people. We are empty nesters now, so we've started traveling a lot more. And we just do a lot of stuff on the house. And I love to be out in the yard. I'm an outdoor girl, so I would rather be outside or working outside than inside. So in my free time, basically I go see my kids and my grandkids and travel and do all that fun stuff. So
Well, great. Any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
I think just if you're an agent, right, looking for something, you just find the right people and helping clients is amazing. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, well, great. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining me and sharing some of that info with us today. And I'd
Sure.
like to stay in touch, and maybe you'll do this again in 6 months or 12 months and see what's changed.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All
It's always changing.
right, for sure. All right.
Uh,
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you.